I hosted hosted and head wrote Redacted Tonight for 8 years, 375 episodes, and been doing comedy and political comedy for 20 some odd years. And just the other day, about a month ago, RT America shut down, show canceled, all the back videos banned on YouTube globally, and my podcast, Moment of Clarity, deleted from Spotify. That all happened in the span of about 3 days. So I think I'm now one of the most censored comedians in America. I've been an advocate for a while now, creating the new platforms that are decentralized, that are against censorship, that do facilitate organizing and activism, and are not just can't just be ripped out from under us as all the big tech platforms have done. I mean, besides all this recent censorship, I've been essentially shadow banned on Facebook since 2016, and on YouTube for the past several years, heavily suppressed. These big tech platforms, they, the day might come today, it might come 5 years from now, but if you are truly speaking out and truly speaking the truth and speaking it in a way that is not allowable, not acceptable on your mainstream airwaves, then you will eventually be either algorithmically suppressed or straight up, deleted and banned. I'm not one of the people that says, oh, just delete Facebook and everything, because then you end up in a situation where all the activists, all the anti-war voices have deleted all the platforms that actually have a lot of people on them. So I don't think we should just, say, screw it all and stand out on a street corner and yell instead of using any social media. I think we have to use the tools that are there while building up the alternatives. I think for the smaller outlets, I think a lot of it comes down to working together. It's called radindiemedia.com. And the idea was to have a bunch of independent voices there so that if one of us got deleted or some of us got deleted from our other platforms, there was a place people could still go and get all your content.
Do you see any chance of mainstream media kind of decoupling themselves from government influence and kind of pushing those government narratives? Or do you see that just as a connection that's just going to stay intact for the long term?
Yeah, that decoupling idea sounds great. How do we get that to happen?
I hope we can.
In some instances, you can point to a media outlet and say that is a state media outlet. And, they love to do that for RT America, even though we had many different viewpoints on that channel. And I have always tried to tell people, make it very clear, I was never censored. I was never told what to say. I wrote all my own stuff, unlike every other political comedian on television. And never censored in any way. And of course, you can also point to other outlets that don't get maligned for that, but they are also state-funded media outlets like BBC, PBS, CBC, all of these countries' outlets. And people go, well, America doesn't, outside of PBS, doesn't really have that, right? CNN's not state media. Fox News isn't state media. But what we have is what political philosopher Sheldon Wolin called inverted totalitarianism. We don't have a single kind of fascist leader. We have the rule by anonymous corporate state. It is this kind of mushy glob of corporate ownership that pushes things towards whatever corporation, whatever corporate America wants to happen. And a large 2014 Princeton study shows this is exactly what we have. We have an oligarchy run by corporate interests. At the end of the day, they are always going to do what is right for those corporations, for that corporate America, which is also runs our government. So in that way, they are mouthpieces for the state. And those who go against, those who are already well-known and famous and on those networks and happen to have a change of mind or a change of heart and go against the endless war machine or go against capitalist America, they will be pushed out. They will be purged from that system. You see that these corporate outlets will always, at the end of the day, do the state's bidding. And, we're seeing it right now. We're seeing this neo-McCarthyism, this new Cold War, and it's at 100%. They've cranked that thing up, that knob of McCarthyist propaganda all the way to 100.
Do you think that quickness to that removal and the very kind of quick acceptance from a lot of different people, I would say a lot of people not that are like progressive leftists, but like leftists and neoliberals. Do you think that their acceptance of that kind of censorship and removal is from the years of propaganda. I mean, really decades of very negative Russia sentiment that's been disseminated to the public in things like movies and TV shows and even like games and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's years of propaganda going into this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we watched every tenant of Russiagate, and by the way, I hate Trump more than anyone else, but I also hate the Democratic Party. So I'm no pro-Trumper, but we watched every tenet of Russiagate collapse. There was nothing there. Many of us knew there was nothing there from the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but as more and more came out, you know, the Mueller report all collapsed. The people that Mueller had indicted at the clickbait farm, ultimately they dropped all those indictments. There was just nothing there to actually point to. It all fizzled away. But it still served its purpose. It served the purpose of a lot of people still believe that Russia somehow put Trump in office. A lot of people still believe all of these garbage stories. Another hilarious one that, you know, many of us knew was fake from the moment it came out, but many fell for it, was Russia's paying Taliban bounties so that they can kill American troops in Afghanistan. And if you go and look, the most of the mainstream outlets ultimately admitted that story had no proof behind it. But they leave all the articles up there. People keep sharing them, and it serves its purpose. The propaganda succeeds even when these, pathetic outlets admit that they have fallen for complete falsehoods. It still serves its purpose.
Definitely seems to have really succeeded since they deplatformed Trump from Twitter and Facebook. Like that seems to be where this really did start.
Well, yeah, and even before that, I mean, that was the biggest one. But even before that, and some of us were talking about it, but not many. They had done some kind of test balloons where they deleted 800 pages from Facebook in one day, including Free Thought Project, Police the Police, Antiwar.com, Anti-Media. I think Anti-Media. All those were deleted in the same day, and then simultaneously, all of the editors or contributors or whatever on Twitter had their accounts suspended. Meaning Facebook and Twitter had to somehow cooperate and work together to have all of that happen simultaneously, and almost no one cared. And you were like, how do you not see that this will come after everyone else? Like, this is just the beginning. And sure enough, it was.
Do you see any advantages of Elon Musk now having I think it's around like 9% shareholder control of Twitter? And do you think that that's going to kind of help to bring in a new era of free speech? Or do you think it's just going to kind of turn into the same amalgamation that it is now?
I think we need to stop turning to billionaires to save us.
Exactly.
My view, I mean, you know, for one thing, Musk says some good things here and there if you cherry pick. He also said he was into electric vehicles because he wants to get off fossil fuels because of climate change. But in fact, his space shuttle trips use more fossil fuels than 100,000 cars for a year or something like that. Yeah. So he says good things, but I don't think in the actions you actually see them. Because it's a billion pieces of green paper, we call them a hero. And that's not how it should be. We should view them like hoarders. All right. You walk into the apartment and you go, this is kind of gross and kind of upsetting. So if you want to even allow them to exist, which I don't even think they should exist, but if you want to allow billionaires to exist, we should at least view them with a little level of shame. Like, wow, you're kind of gross and kind of upsetting. We should not view them like heroes. They should not be on the covers of our magazines. He's going to tell us what to do. He's going to guide us to the better future. I don't think that should ever be the case. My stuff's at patreon.com/Lee Camp. I certainly enjoyed that for many years. I didn't have to, all my content could be free. And that's, simply not the world we, live in anymore, or I live in anymore, because, it's all been shut down because of sanctions, or shadow banned or deleted or banned around the world. And I think people should be furious about the level of censorship that's going on right now. They should be furious that we're being led into another endless war Make no mistake about it. This is a proxy war going on in Ukraine between Russia and the U.S., and we're basically using the Ukrainians as cannon fodder. We're arming them to the teeth, hoping that this battle in Ukraine lasts for years, and which of course kills as many people as possible. And what do we need right now? We need a level of cooperation that humankind has almost never seen in order to do anything about climate change. And even outside of climate change, just environmental destruction in general. We should be working together. We need to get outside of toxic nationalism and stand with each other around the globe. And anybody who's saying what I just said is getting deleted from the airwaves, deleted from your social media platforms. And it's incredibly dangerous. And people should be furious, and they should be getting their information outside of those mainstream corporate outlets. If you get your information anywhere that has ads for Raytheon, then that's a problem. All right. Just know that's a problem. If there's ads for weapons contractors on your news source, then you might want to think twice about getting information there.